Been a bad week for New Orleans. Sean Payton yesterday apparently wore some shirt that was kind of mocking the NFL commissioner. Sean Payton publicly talked yesterday, first time I've heard him talk, in regards to the call against the Rams. Little pity party for the Saints here. It was a bad call, and so Sean Payton talked. Here's Sean Payton yesterday.
I'm back to the ice cream and the Netflix, and there's a point where you know that things aren't changing, and then you get wrapped up in a new series, a new episode, and it comes back again, and then you get wrapped up in a new series, a new episode.
By the way, find me a sport that hasn't had a major officiating controversy. Golden State Cavs a couple of years ago. You know the reason the Cavs won is Draymond Green got suspended. Anybody watch the Red Sox and the Astros, a home run, no home run American League Championship Series? Dustin Johnson lost a golf major. You may have recalled that with a controversial officiating decision. In the NHL, there's Brett Hull in the crease. In college football, Ohio State, Miami, pass interference, no pass interference. Look it up, Google the World Cup, hand of God. You do get officiating controversy is part of sports. 85 World Series. Sacramento Kings, Lakers series. New Orleans, let me remind you, you're not alone. You're just now officially on the list. With the Miami Hurricanes, with Dustin Johnson, the hand of God, the St. Louis Cardinals, the Golden State Warriors, Draymond Green, Brett Hull in the crease. You're just on the list now. You're not special. And frankly, Saints, you had a unique situation to win the game where you got hosed. You couldn't stop the Rams when they got the ball, and then you got the ball first in overtime and couldn't do anything with it. In a lot of these instances, the final call is fatal. The final call here was not a fatal call. That did not lose the game. It just made it harder to win the game. But in many instances, Dustin Johnson, it's over. And no makeup time. Hand of God. Goal. Look it up. So in the pity party for New Orleans now, you're not even in the main room. You're not even on the VIP list. A lot of people in a lot of sports have been hosed far more than you, and it was often a fatal blow. You didn't lose because of this. Just made it harder. But you couldn't stop the Rams when they got the ball, and you got the ball first in overtime. I mean, that doesn't mean it was a good call. I'm not arguing that. I'm in no way arguing that it was a good call. But just look up Brett Hull in the crease. Go Google hand of God. Google Dustin Johnson loses major / controversy. Draymond suspended, Cavs win the title. Miami Hurricanes, Ohio State. Controversial national championship call. You're just on the list. I mean, and in the big pity party, in that party, you're not even in the VIP room. That wasn't a fatal blow, just made it harder. Red Sox, Altuve, Astros. Let's go to Greg Olson via the Coward Global Satellite Network. 12 NFL seasons, 3-time Pro Bowler. My guess is he's going to end up in the Hall of Fame, and he's also, if he wants to quit, he's going to have multiple networks bidding for his rights as a broadcaster. Greg, it's good to see you again. I want to throw something out, and you tell me it's an advantage. So the New England Patriots, Stephon Gilmore, played for 4 years in a row with Robert Woods of the Rams, knows every move. The Patriots faced Robert Woods for years. The Patriots, by the way, had Brandon Cook for a year. They know his strengths and weaknesses. The Patriots had Aqib Talib for 2 years. Is it an advantage for the Patriots that they know key members of the Rams personnel?
Yeah, I think to a degree. I think especially a team like New England, right, who is so interested in turning over every stone, gaining every advantage possible. They think of every single scenario. Yeah, they know if Robert Woods struggles with press versus off. They know what routes he struggles getting in and out of breaks. They know the intricacies. They saw him every day in practice. Their coaches knew what he struggled with, what he couldn't do. Brandon Cooks, I'm saying. So, they understand what these guys can and can't do better than almost anyone. Playing against Robert Woods up in Buffalo, they can see what he does. I think there is something to that. Now, again, it's a different scheme. Sean McVay is going to have his counter to that, right? They're going to have their counter to Belichick taking away, what LA is going to do. So I think that chess match is interesting, but I don't think there's anyone better at isolating your weaknesses and exploiting them more than Belichick and just generally the Patriots.
You know, you were at a Super Bowl, and in the Super Bowl, the first one, I have Russell Wilson on next hour. He went to 2, his first one. Is the week of practice and the extra week and the relatives and the tickets, was it hard? Was it a different week?
It's definitely a different, it's really a different 2 weeks. You do a whole week of practice on the front end back at your facility back home. Then we traveled on Sunday, had a practice Monday, and then went through another entire prep week. It almost was too much practice, too much downtime, too much meetings. You kind of overthink it. We're so routine oriented, Colin, in the NFL, where every Wednesday is a Wednesday, every Thursday is a Thursday, and we just clip off week after week after week. And when you're rolling, you don't want the bye. Well, we were rolling off the NFC Championship. We just put up 45-plus points against the Cardinals, one of the top teams in the league that year, and got a bye that we didn't, in essence, had an extra week. And, it hurt us. We really peaked 2 weeks too early, and offensively we just really played poorly. And I think we didn't do a great job handling the changes that Super Bowl build-up led to. And as a result, we squandered a really promising opportunity.
Are you, or how surprised are you that the Rams got Talib and Marcus Peters and Ndamukong Suh and Dante Fowler, guys who had either underachieved, guys who had at times had, a little baggage here and there, and yet it's worked, Greg. As you watch the Rams from afar, were you kind of surprised they were able to take a young quarterback, a young coach, superstar running back, free agent trade guy with a little baggage, and it all kind of worked? It surprised you?
I didn't know a lot about Sean McVay, coming from his background with Washington, and got that job. I think everyone had the same reaction. I just don't think anyone who watches closely, someone who follows the game, I don't think it took long to realize there was something unique about him. There was something, and I'm not talking about his play design and scheme. I think when you hear him talk, I interacted with him a little bit last year when I ran into him at NFL Honors, and you can be around him for a couple minutes, and he just has a very unique kind of charisma that comes across. And again, let's not forget, here's a young guy that's being questioned. It'd be very easy for him getting in this job to be very insecure, surround himself with his people. And who does he hire? He hires Wade Phillips. He hires a guy that if he gets off to a really bad start out there, coming off a terrible couple years with Jeff Fisher, if he gets off to a similar start, that's the interim coach in waiting on your staff. He was confident in himself, saying, listen, I don't have all the answers. I can deliver a message. I can run an offense, but I'm going to get an associate head coach, in essence, to run the defense and someone that I can lean on. I think that move sums up what is in a very selfish and a very uncomfortable NFL world that we create. Sean McVay was so confident in himself, he was not threatened by anybody.
By the way, how do players look at Brady, not just his longevity, but the fact that he's done something which is generally not cool? He's taken pay cuts. He's done it like Tim Duncan. I mean, he's going to sign another extension. He's going to probably make about $15 million a year, which makes him the 28th highest paid quarterback. Are there a few guys in the league that look at Brady and think, okay, enough is enough. You're killing us here in the free agent market?
I'm sure there are. And I think he's learned a long time ago that striking while it's hot and maximizing your pay is not always in your best interest. Sustained success, both individually and as a team, that's the true ticket, right? That's the true path towards making a lot of money, being the best player of all time. There's a lot that goes into it. In today's world, with the quarterbacks around the league taking up as big a percentage of the cap that they are, you got guys making $30+ million a year on a $160 million cap. There's only so much now to go around you, and I think he's understood that for a long time. He has a unique situation, obviously, with his ability to generate income in other areas, but winning has been that's the backbone of his career. He's not, not the yards, not the touchdowns. Winning is what he's known as. And I think he would take that over every other, recognition, every other record that you could throw out there.
Okay, you've played 12 years. You've had some injuries. How shocked are you? And I know tight end's a much more physically imposing position, more daunting than a quarterback. But are you kind of shocked that Brady against the Chargers, that's as good as I've ever seen him play? Like, you ever just go, is it the Kale pajamas? I mean, are you kind of amazed by it?
It is. I mean, listen, he has really devoted his entire lifestyle to playing quarterback for a long time and at a high level in a very late stage of his life. And, to be talking about playing to his mid-40s, late 40s is almost unheard of. And it's not even so much that he's able to play, it's that he's able to lead his team to the Super Bowl and not just be a member, right? So we played Peyton Manning that year in the Super Bowl. He's Peyton Manning. He's an all-time great player. That defense and that circumstance is what, at least in the Super Bowl, beat us. Brady is still the number one factor preparing to play. And at his stage of his career, that's unheard of. It's truly remarkable. A lot of it's his preparation, his mindset, his training routine. It's a little different, but it works. It works with what he's asked to do. It works within the scheme of what he's asked to do. He's not going to run around. He's not looking to be a hero and get hit. He's going to just stand there and throw the ball. And as long as his arm works and his brain works, he's in good shape.
Greg Olson, by the way, on behalf of Coca-Cola Consolidated, giving back to people. It's the Big Hearts Mini Cans program. Greg, you have always been great in the community. What's it about?
It's our way of coming down. We're down in Atlanta. Coke's, background. Coca-Cola Consolidated back up in Charlotte. He's been a great partner of mine for the past 2 years. And we do a lot of work both locally and across the country with my foundation and other charity efforts. And the Big Hearts Mini Cans is just another way to recognize those people in the community who take a minute to give back to others who need it. And it's been a special relationship, and we've had a good time here in Atlanta kind of sharing that message.
Greg, continued success. You're one of the good guys. Thanks, bud.
Thank you. Always enjoy it. Thanks, buddy.
All right, Greg Olson. Russell Wilson, top of the hour, the Seahawk quarterback. Speaking of a guy that's going to end up in the Hall of Fame. Coming up next, an update. Lakers-LeBron situation with Anthony Davis. Tuesday's the deadline. We'll give you the very latest. Broussard next hour on this next.